Hello! This will be the first gaming thing I've uploaded in a long time. This won't be Rumble exclusive, but this partly because, you know, this is like the first gaming thing I'm uploading. We're gonna do a campaign. I'm not sure if I'll take it through past normal difficulty, but on my other Steam account, I've played through and beaten this game on normal a couple times. You can see I have some characters here on this account. We're going to create a new character for this playthrough. We're going to call him One Button Man. I could try it on veteran, but that would be a 10% experience bonus. It sounds good until you, you know, I'll show it off. We'll see how far I can get with this guy at veteran, and then if we need to switch, we'll just turn it off. I love this game. Like I said, I've played through it a couple times. The sad thing is that, well, I'll shut up first. Sorta. I can't fully shut up for cutscenes. It's a terrible thing, a habit of mine.
We paid a heavy price, but the trap worked.
You seem surprised.
It's been a while since we've had a win. How long will it hold?
I've never entrapped a being like this, but the bonds hold, for now.
How do we dispose of it?
I'm just a witch. You're the soldier.
If it bleeds, I can kill it.
Nice.
How do you kill a spirit, though?
If you kill the mortal vessel while it's bound, the spirit may perish within. If it escapes...
It's listening to us.
What are you?
Others of your kind name us ethereal.
Why have you invaded our world?
Your world. We existed first, but were managed by your corrupt gods. Your kind opened the way, and now we return to claim what by right should be ours.
I've heard enough of this rubbish. Let's hang it.
Destroy this vessel, and I will find another. I have tasted its desires and emotions. Your kind is weak. You have already launched this war.
Do it.
Captain!
Cut him down!
What? Are you mad? Better safe than sorry.
The spirit has fled!
This is a human now.
The captain is correct. When they awaken, they won't remember a thing.
The ethereal was right. The war is lost. We're a resistance now, and we need every human survivor we can call to our cause. Maybe this one here can still die with some honor. If they ever wake up, send them to me. If they don't, bury him deep with the others.
So yeah. You can understand from that the kind of scenario you're entering into in Grim Dawn. If you've never played this game before, you should. It's a very good game. They didn't always have... I'm playing with controller, by the way. They didn't always have the evade button. It used to be a skill that only one class had, and that made... the game was a lot better whenever they added that. Also, you have infinite potions now. Left bumper, right bumper, like they replenish. You used to have to buy them, which made the game a lot weirder and more difficult.
Still drawing breath, I see. You're one lucky bastard, I'll give you that. Best go speak to Captain Bourbon right away. He seems to have a plan for you now that we've spared your life.
Our guy says in response, what happened? How did I get here?
You were possessed. So we strung you up. Seems the spirit fled your body before your life ran out. I'd have left you to hang, but the captain had other plans. He sees some purpose in you, and I'm not going to argue.
You know, I like that they kept the take where he goes, but, where he goes, so we, and but, that's way, I almost wish they had added that in the text, but that adds flavor. People in real life use a lot, especially in something as awkward as so we you know you were possessed and we strung you up, you know that's how it is. You know, I'd have left you to hang, but you know the captain, he you know. Anyway, our guy responds with, "Where can I find this captain?"
He's up the road in the courtyard. Don't make me regret cutting you down.
We'll be on our way then. Yeah, so this is the world of Grim Dawn. Now, one thing I gotta nitpick is that I really like that you can turn the camera, and I really like that there's a button that you can hold to reset the camera, if I'm not mistaken. I forget which button it is. I used to have it, hold on. Let me go to key binding. I know there's a reset camera button. And I'm doing all this with the right thumbstick. I don't have to, but I am. Camera default views num 2. There we go. Yeah, you press 2 on the numpad. I really like that. I like that it even goes to default zoom too. But I gotta say that it can be a little. I kind of wish that they had a camera tutorial so that you knew that there was, because it bugged the crud out of me the first time I played this game, that I didn't know that there was a reset camera function. And for some, look, I if you've watched my stuff relating to my books and you know, the other stuff like my work to do with graphing and stuff, you ought to know by now I have like OCD. Undiagnosed, I guess, but only by a hair. But yeah, it bugs me to not be able to view the game in the original perspective. Though I like it just... I'd like to play the entire game aligned with the gate. So the default is this. I like to play the entire game just a couple degrees to the right. Or to... yeah, panned. I guess you'd call that to the right? Anyway.
You're not looking too bad for someone just come back from the brink of death. You were taken, possessed by the same creatures that have been reanimating these zombies here. Normally I'd have burned you with the rest to be safe, but we've lost too many people to the dead. I need someone expendable, someone with nothing to lose but a lot to gain. Right now, you're that person. Prove your worth to me, and the survivors of Devil's Crossing may just welcome you.
What is it you want me to do?
The bodies of the dead are rising again in some horrible unlife. Corpses don't just get up and move around on their own. Something is reanimating our deceased with ethereal energy. We have observed the dead for some time, and they appear to be flooding Lower Crossing from the burial hill, just beyond town. I want you to go to the burial hill, find whatever is controlling these abominations, and destroy it.
Where can I find Burial Hill?
You will need to fight your way through Lower Crossing. Once you've crossed the stream on the far side of town, there will be a beaten path leading up to Burial Hill. I know I'm asking a lot of you, but I'd be asking a lot of my people to welcome you with open arms too. Help us in our hour of need, and I will open Devil's Crossing to you.
I'll find what's reanimating those corpses. Not all of the dialogue is voiced in this game. Fair whack of it isn't, for reasons I hope are kind of obvious. So I'm going to be playing through this with the controller, because I just like the controller. That noise, I get why they added it, but I hate, if you could hear that, I'm not sure how the audio balance is coming through, even though I did some test recordings, but I hate that noise with a passion. The fly noise, hold on. Yeah, let's just sit in that for a minute. Okay. Well, you know, I'm not sure, like, if this is your first time seeing this game, I'm not sure how, but if it is, I'm not sure how much I should give for the exposition of the backstory. We'll kind of get it as we go through. I don't know this game like the back of my hand or anything. I know a decent amount, like kind of a checklist of the early game. So I'll try to explain the lore as I understand it as we go through. So I'm not going to give you everything up front. I'll just talk about it as we go through certain areas and encounter certain enemies and stuff. So as the game hopefully points out there with that tooltip, Constitution is converted into health when out of combat. That's that sort of yellow funk over our health bar. And it says allowing you to regenerate health between fights. That's not quite true because you can regen health in the middle of a fight if you run away like a sissy. Anyway, we're on veterans, so we're going to be getting more XP, but we're also going to be dealing with mobs that have more damage and more health. I'm not sure if there's any other differences for veteran, but I know veteran's very rough. It's not an easy game to begin with, to some extent. I'll put it this way, normal isn't... This is going to sound like a really stupid thing to say, but normal isn't hard, granted. But it's not easy in the later parts of the game, especially the DLC areas. Now see, now in normal mode we could just mop these guys up, but because we're on veteran it's gonna take a bit of working to do. I've played through normal on veteran before, on my other Steam account, which, by the way, the reason I have 2 accounts is because I ran out of save slots on Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring, so, you know, I just kind of started playing my second account more. But I've played through the game on veteran before, and it's rough. It gets real rough real fast. The thing that makes this a lot more doable is that this time I'm playing, this is the first time I've done it since they made the change to potions, where you don't actually have to buy all your potions, so, you know, that'll make it a lot more palatable. As you can see there, we leveled up. We are not going to be investing any of our attribute points for a while, for a good reason that I'll explain in a moment. So, these first 6 classes, Soldier, Demolitionist, Occultist, Nightblade, Arcanist, and Shaman, are all, their base game, right? These are the base game classes that you can pick from. Inquisitor, Necromancer, and Oathkeeper are all DLC. Now, I wanted to do a 1-button playthrough. What does that mean? Well, originally I wanted to mix in... I thought I heard something. It's kind of a Dark Souls thing where this menu doesn't actually pause the game. This one does. This one doesn't. So you kind of got to be careful whenever you're fooling around in your skills and stuff menu. Also, there's a loot filter, by the way, which is super good. We're just going to turn off commons because there's no reason to have commons visible. I'll explain why I did that in a minute. But so we've got the Soldier, Demolitionist, Occultist, Nightblade, and Arcanist, like I said. Oh, and Shaman, yeah. Now the thing is I'm kind of, now that I'm here, thinking maybe I should do a 1-button playthrough, like, hear me out, with the basic classes. But the thing is, I'm not sure how much of this Like, if I look at Arcanist, that's the only one that I can think of that maybe will apply. You know, I'm really thinking, how many of these are buffs? Because technically I don't have to press a button for a buff, right? Yeah, I'm kind of liking the idea of an Arcanist. I was gonna go Shaman Inquisitor, but I'm kind of liking the idea of an Arcanist Shaman or an Arcanist Soldier. I'm just looking through the skills here. I'm really considering this because you can just undo class. You don't. The thing is that once you select a class, if I remember right, you're locked into that class until you see this other thing here. You can mix two classes if you didn't catch on to that. But the reason why I'm kind of thinking here is I think the occultist is all on cast. No, there's a buff there. Because you can see the occultist's main thing is that they have a lot of, if I remember right, their whole thing is that they're like the real spellcaster. Yeah, like, they have summons. Yeah, so that's like a bonus to pets. That's like, you would want the occultist if you're going for like out of the base 6 classes, this is like some class that synergizes real well with minions. Now let's look at that buff. Where is that buff at? Yeah, this isn't really a very good buff. Well, that attack speed looks pretty good. I'm not sure how I feel about chaos damage though. Now here's the other thing, the Demolitionist is a wild class. I mean that in a good way. The Demolitionist is a really cool class. Honestly, all the base classes are cool, all of the classes are cool, but the Demolitionist is one kind of after my own heart. But I need to take a look at the Shaman here. I know we're spending a lot of time on this, but the thing I'm worried about is survivability. Yeah, you know what? I think we're gonna go with Soldier and Arcanist. Yeah. Two-handed melee weapon for that. Now what I want to do, and what I feel I am absolutely going to do, is go with like the thunder gun. the stupid two-handed side of things. Now the Shaman, the reason why I wanted to go with him is that he is a big two-handed. The Shaman, well you know what I mean, but the Shaman, it's big into two-handed buffs. The Shaman is just such a good class for damage, but I need to see, there's a buff that I think, yeah, see, that gives energy regen, that gives rather health regen. Yeah, I guess you get good defensive options. Sorta. Yeah, I think we're gonna go soldier. So the thing here is that my strat in the first 50 levels is to power level the bottom bar, like where you basically level up your class instead of picking any of the other options. Now the thing is, what we're gonna do here is that we're gonna get cadence and Markovian's advantage. Now this right here, cadence, is what's called a it's like a default attack replacer, so we can use that as our default attack. Right, like, I'm pretty sure it counts as one of those. Now the reason why that that's important is because default weapon attack replacers, well, if you look here on the skills, right, can activate with all default weapon attacks, and then this says when used as your default weapon attack, right? These are stupidly strong, and I love to synergize around them, hence why I'm doing a one-button playthrough, you know? So you see there, we're getting a lot more damage on the extra strike. Like, a lot more damage. You can tell, right? Like, look at that. Now the good news is that 10% extra... I'm gonna turn the sound down a little bit. I'm not sure how loud I'm coming through on the recording, but it's kind of loud for me. I got a little thing on my headset that lets me adjust the volume on my end without having to adjust it in the software level. But yeah, you'll see that, like I said, we're doing a lot more damage. But the 10% XP bonus is going to be doing a lot of work for us. Like I said, unless and until it becomes clear that we just can't be rolling with that.
I can't do that.
My guy said that because I tried to use the... Oh, crud, that acid does a lot of damage. Have you ever just caught yourself standing in a pool of liquefying acid and realized your boots were burning when you noticed a funny smell and looked down to see your toes slowly turning black and crispy? Goodness.
I can't do that yet.
Yeah, 3rd degree acid burns. It's a wonder that your guy could just heal from that on your feet.
Yeah.
But, yeah, unless and until this becomes too much, because veteran can become overwhelming very quickly, especially for the kind of playthrough that I normally like to do, where, like I said, I like to just level the class instead of taking points. Like, I like to basically power level for the first as many levels as it takes, using as few levels as possible to actually, like, basically taking perks as sparingly as possible. So if you see right here where we've got 1 out of 12, and then we've got 1 out of 16, you can level these to make them stronger. It's kind of obvious from the tooltip, but just pointing it out and making it, like, abundantly clear. Now the reason why I like to essentially power level, I'm sure that there's a quote-unquote smarter way to play the game, but for me it just seems to be the way that most balances out by the mid-game, where you're not going to feel like you're struggling. It makes the game a lot more smooth than the power gradient, in my opinion, and in my experience. Now the reason why we're not selecting any attributes is because I want to see how this, like, these two... So you see here, the attributes, you get some every single time you level up with a class. I'm pretty sure they're the same increment every time, so 5 physique, 3 cunning, 2 spirit for the soldier, which is a lot of physique, by the way. That's a lot of physique. That's like top end. But whenever we go into Arcanist, I'm not sure what we'll be getting for Arcanist, I forgot to look. But I essentially just want to sort of save attribute points, because we're going to be power leveling the class itself. That means we're going to have a ton of attribute points. Like a ton. Like a ton. We're not going to be short on attribute points, like, for a while, so I want to make sure that whatever we have as a possible shortcoming, I'd like to... That my ear's getting itchy, that's why I'm moving my mic around. Sorry if that sounds a little bad, but I want to be able to shore up our shortcomings, basically. So you can find these around the world. These are exactly what they look and sound like. They're notes, right? It says right-click to read, but if, as you see down there, we'll just press Y. You get experience from these, and you can read them in your journal. This is the Harbor Master's log. If you want to read it, you can go ahead. Maybe I'll do a playthrough of this in the future where I read all the notes and look for them. But like I said, I don't have like eidetic memory of where everything is in this game. And if I was going to do that, I'd like to actually get all of the notes in order as you should, and then, you know, read them like that. That'd be like a completionist playthrough. I'm just kind of playing through the game with a weird gimmick for this one, you know, as my first sort of return to making gaming content. Because I've done this stuff before. Normally I'd record with the Xbox Game Bar, but I'm trying recording with OBS instead, because it seems to not take up as much memory for whatever reason. The recordings, whenever they're compressed and like done being re-encoded through Handbrake, which is what I use to make them smaller, like compress them, so that they don't, I think that's the right term, so that they still don't look bad, but they also don't end up like 5 gigabytes large and taking, you know, several eternities to upload. Now that's our first like hero boss, like mini boss enemy. We don't really have to worry about him so much, as long as we kind of stay away from him and take on these minions. I forget if he's one of... Okay, so I guess I should stop for a minute. That kind of enemy that you see there, a big sort of theme with the... Yeah, see, he just summoned another one. A big sort of theme with these guys is that they summon little guys to help them out. So you kind of end up just fighting an endless wave of ads if you don't take out the guy summoning all the additionals. What a slobber knocker! Goodness. So if you've been paying attention, you can see down right here, our experience bar, you can actually see how much experience, like, per chunk whenever you kill an enemy, or complete a quest, or use a thing to, you know, like, whenever I say use a thing, I'm talking about the little notes where you get experience from them. That's not bad, let's equip that. For now, later on we'll be using a, who said that? I don't know if you heard that. I wonder if it was my guy with ha there. But yeah, we'll be using guns. We're not going to be using, maybe. I mean, maybe. I already changed up one aspect that I planned for the playthrough. Maybe we will go all in on two-handed melee weapons and just beat everything down. That'd be kind of rad. I wouldn't mind that. Though it being veteran, I'm kind of reticent to do that. Okay, so we've got Inquisitor Creed. Ooh, that was a gnarly thing to try to say quickly for me. Journal of Inquisitor Creed, first entry and second entry. Did I drop that? Yes, I did. I'm a very dim guy sometimes. So if you read this, just gonna leave this on screen for a second longer. Ah, my ear. You can use the left thumbstick to go up and down instead of the scroll wheel. But yeah, things ain't looking good here. Now, I'm not quite sure why they had Inquisitors prior to all the stuff that went down. But, you know. So this is our first two-handed ranged weapon. It doesn't really matter that we have a two-handed ranged weapon at the moment. It's a crossbow. Now, obviously, the benefit of a ranged weapon is that you don't have to be in anything's face, right? But, you know, it's alright. The other thing is that you can, this is more important, by the way, is that you can reach out and touch somebody with a ranged weapon. You don't have to run up to them, which can be an issue with some enemies. Not every enemy is just going to run right up to you, you know. Some of them are kind of, I hesitate to say clever, but some of them are a little less dim.
That skill's not ready.
Yeah, I know, buddy. I know the skill ain't ready. I'm just mashing B because it's nice to move faster. Now you can see this is like, I wouldn't say it's bad. It's not like great. But if we look at our skills, two-handed melee weapon if we wanted to use force wave, but that would take another button, right? I'm trying to look for stuff that like, yeah, see, this is another survival thing. Menhir's Will requires a shield or two-handed melee weapon. Two-handed melee weapon, you know? I think there's another one. Yeah, it requires a shield, but that's extra block chance and shield recovery time, which is, Now, if we're going to take on the world, we can go shield, right? Zolhan's technique is pretty... You know? It is what it is. We'll get to that. Now, see, the thing here is, with ranged weapons, Cadence has a chance to pierce through enemies. Right, that's kind of what makes fighting form. That's kind of the ranged benefit here. I'm just going over these for my own sake, obviously, too, but, I have a hard time memorizing exactly what does what. The main thing is that Menhir's Will is very strong. Restores 15% health, plus 40 health regenerated per second. 25-second skill recharge, so that's stupidly good. That twice a minute, you know. And if you really want to draw that out into equivalency, that's what. I'm bad at math, folks, so please give me a second. So 50 seconds. So every 600 seconds, you'd get "24 activations flat." Now the thing is like I'm not sure how much stuff one-shots you. So this would be probably way better with a shield, right? The thing about Zolhan's technique is that when used with a melee weapon, the attack strikes multiple nearby targets, right? Now see, what that means is that that's essentially giving you cleave. Now I'm not sure if you get cleave from Cadence. Yeah. That's kind of... That's the whole thing here, is that I'm trying to plan out in my head whether we should go with ranged or two-handed melee. I want to go with ranged just because I like two-handed ranged. I think using a big musket is cool. You know, I just think it's cool. What can I say? I don't really have a better defense than that.
That skill's not ready.
Or reason. I don't have a better justification. I just think using a big musket's cool. Just blowing your enemies to bits with a thunder gun. And trust me, in this game, it looks cool. Now, I'm just trying to fill out the map. You know, we're also getting more XP for doing so, obviously, and more items, but it's just nice because whenever you fill out this map, you keep that, like, you keep that. You keep a record of where you've been. Which is good. I mean, obviously, but,
I can't do that yet.
It's good also, not just because it helps you know where you're going, and also because I have a compulsion to finish the map. But just trying to focus.
I can't do that yet.
But whenever I need, inevitably, to look up on my phone, like, oh, where is Negan? Where is Julius? Where is the other guy that I always miss from the quest that we're bound to get soon? Where you gotta kill Julius, Negan, and like Frank. I forget the third guy's name every time, but I think it starts with an F.
That skill's not ready.
There's always one of them that I can never find, and having the map unlocked obviously makes it easy for you to go look up on your phone. Okay, where's so and so? Ah, okay, that's how I need to get this quest done. Because over on that right-hand side, you see active quests. They'll stay up on your active quests bar until you beat them. I mean, you can hide them, but you know. Okay, this guy says that we're all gonna die out here. Well, let's tell him to calm down and ask him where he's from. He was staying with a group of survivors down at Devil's Crossing, the old prison, but supplies started running low. He volunteered to go scavenging around Lower Crossing. Figured it was safe enough, but he was wrong. He got chased in here by a pack of ravenous rift scourges, which is hard to say. Though he can't hear their maddening skittering anymore, he supposes he has us to thank for that. It doesn't matter though, apparently, because the area, according to him, is overrun with the dead, and we, meaning not us, we're good, won't make it 5 feet without getting surrounded. I suppose we could have our guy open a rift gate for him. I love that his response is a what? Isn't that what those things are pouring out of? It's like, yeah, well, sort of, but ours will take him home. He's having a hard time believing that after what he's having a hard time believing that after what he's seen up in Burwich. But he figures that we don't have the look of a taken about us, and supposes it's his only option. We'll see him back at Devil's Crossing. There we go. Now we can kill this butthole. Who's biting us. How rude. I'm trying to have a conversation here, pal. Alright, but that's like our first survivor guy. It's not like there's a ton of them, but it's like a little mini quest that you find a guy, you talk to him,
I can't do that yet.
he or she, I think there's at least one female survivor that you talk to them and they're like, oh yeah, wow, okay, cool, I guess I'll take a rift gate, whatever that is, and, you know, you teleport them back. Because it hasn't really been explained yet, but your guy, because the ethereal was in him and then left him, right? There's two things that are now your character in this game, because of that happened to them. There's two things that's important to understand about them. It gave them the power to open their own ethereal rifts, and it also gave them immunity to possession. Because for some reason, once you get possessed by an ethereal and they leave, you can't get possessed again. So your guy is the super soldier. essentially. And honestly, you would think that they'd be trying to figure out how to make that happen with more people. But hey, whatever. Point is that your guy basically has superpowers because of what happened in the opening cutscene, which makes you the perfect guy for everything that happens in this game and taking care of it. Also, at some point, someone mentioned something about your guy becoming a deity or something, but we'll talk about that when that happens. I'm not sure if that's going to be a part of the new DLC that's been teased for like a year now, maybe longer. It feels like 10 years. I can't wait for the new DLC for this game. Obviously I can, because I've been waiting, but you know what I mean. Now see, this is the benefit of a ranged weapon, is that you can just kind of... I mean, again, it sounds like a stupid thing to say, like, well, duh, you can move around. What a scintillating observation. But yeah, you can move around and you don't have to run over to things to get at them.
That skill's not ready.
I'm still considering the two-handed melee route because, man... But I feel like that's more shaman. That's like shaman coded.
I can't do that yet.
Stop being a lemon. Okay, we could use a little bit of extra oomph. This ain't really cutting it. But the thing is, if we can persevere for a bit... If you saw that little orange miss, that's not our guy being polite. That's obviously us not hitting. Now we're going to go for a little bit more armor, hopefully helping us survive the next encounter. We got 6 points stacked up, that's kind of interesting. I didn't think we leveled up that fast. Fighting spirit, huh? Now that'll be good for the two-handed route. Obviously. Oof, I kind of want to get more damage. Yeah, if you hold this, it'll tell you. If you hold your cursor over a perk, it'll tell you how many points you need to get to it. 5-second duration. I just want to see if 10% chance of activating. 5-second skill recharge. Plus 50% to all damage. I'm going to put one more point into that, because if we do end up going the two-handed route for melee weapons, that'll be really good. And even if we don't, there's enough enemies that are really fast in this game that'll like hit you and before you get a chance to really back off, that yeah, it'll probably be worth it on that end alone. Yeah, I see in the bottom left our thing activated. I think that's the cooldown for it. I'm just letting us get a hit here to try to demonstrate that. See, there it is. And that's a beefy boost. You know, that's not nothing. I mean, over half again your damage. Again, it's a bit dim maybe to say out loud, but it helps to think of things this way, that if it's 65%, you do 100 damage, you get an extra 65. Like, you know, you double that, It adds up really quickly for every point of damage you're doing. Not sure how long the recording's been going, but after we take this cave on, I think that's where I'll stop and then start the recording again. Take a little break too. I want to get something to drink. Now the reason why I'm up here doing this is, one, this is another advantage of ranged weapons, is that you can take height advantage, which is really good in some areas. Ah, stop that. Now, this cave is a little peculiar in that there's a mini-boss of sorts that we're going to be running up against. Right there's one of our first, like, running up to you melee enemies. There he is.
I can't do that.
Now, this is going to be worrisome because this guy spawns dudes. And normally, what you do here is that you have enough damage, right, to sort of deal with all of the adds. Or you can... Ooh, I didn't notice my health was getting so low. Holy crap. Now, the obvious problem here
I can't do that.
is that we're not doing enough damage. So let's try with this. That ain't really doing it either, per se. You can see our constitution emptied from doing that. Yeah, we're not really getting it. Ooh, we're getting beat up. Now, let me put that back on, since we're clearly not really winning any battles with that. Now, this is the problem with ranged weapons, is that it's a lot harder to hit a dude who's got a lot of mobs around him with a ranged weapon. Now, the cool thing is we don't have to try to kill this guy right now. But I'm going to try. I'm going to stay here and persevere, because if we get a single level up, we can turn this fight around lickety-split. That may not seem like it's possible, but I promise you it's possible. Ooh, that's... Wow, he's really throwing those off screen, huh? That's kind of impressive. Well, I'm glad that he decided to join us in the front. Now, leading him all the way over here ain't exactly that big of a deal. Like, it ain't a bad thing, rather. Like, it's not a bad thing if he's next to the entrance/exit. I didn't know you could basically bait him into coming to the front of the pack. That's kind of cool. Let's see if we can make him do that a couple more times. Yeah, he's just kind of lummoxed. I never knew that. That's a pretty cool strat. Ah, well, that's not cool. They're summoned behind us, spawned in behind us. However you want to put it. Now, as you can see, you got pretty good range with the ranged weapons. Like, the ranged weapons really are ranged. You know, you can reach to the edge of the screen. It's not some, you know, silly stuff where your ranged weapons don't reach to the other side of the screen or anything like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool that you could just lure him out like that. I did not know that was a strategy that would work. Well, we can just get this then, doing this. We just gotta be patient. I mean, this is the problem with playing on veteran, you know? Like, This is a big part of this being so
Can't do
onerous
that.
is that we're on veteran. Well, we got it. Just gotta be patient, tactical. Measured in our approach. You'll notice that we're not regenerating HP anymore because we're out of Constitution. By the way, they're not kidding about that. When you're out, you're out. Like, that's just sort of the deal there with that mechanic. Now, you may be wondering, how do you regenerate Constitution?
Can't do that.
I think you get it back whenever you level up, but the main thing is that you'll find, I'm not kidding, like meals. Like legit, you'll just find like a fine meal or a food ration laying around. And that's how you get your Constitution back. Your guy just eats. He just has a good dinner and he's back. Which, to be fair, I mean, I can get that. Now you can see at the top, even though he was off screen and we couldn't like visibly see him, the game still like targeted him for us. We've almost got him. It's still going to be a bit of a slog, but we're almost there. Like I said, I did not know about that strat. Now the reason I'm just getting up in his face is, as you saw there, we just all of his summoned ads just drop off. Anyway, we got a skull. That's for wizards. We're not a wizard, so we're not doing that. Now, with that fella beaten, defeated, debeaten, defeated, we gotta take on a whole mob of these fellas. Now, if you're looking at the mini-map, if you're vigilant, you'll notice that there's a funny little icon on it. That's what we're over here for. A ruined shrine. The shrine is ruined, and, well, cleansing shrines at the top left of the tooltip. Shrines can be cleansed by either making an offering to the gods or defeating foes trapped within the shrine, depending on blah blah blah. Anyway, we're gonna give it the Aether Crystal. It doesn't always ask for an Aether Crystal, but, you know. So we get a devotion point. It says devotion points earned from cleansing shrines can be spent in the devotion window, accessed via the skills window. Yeah. Now here's the thing. Now, one cool thing is that you can search up here. Okay, I'm going to use the mouse for this because it's just a lot more convenient. So, the crossroads, as it says, that's the first. It's the first constellation, and you can get blue. Oh, here, I'll just show the affinities. Purple is the Ascendant affinity. Ascendant beings have risen to godlike status through their immense feats or reverence from their lessers. Okay, so that's purple. Red is chaos. The quantity of chaos affinity you have harnessed. Chaotic beings crave entropy and destruction above all else. Eldritch, which is green. The quantity of Eldritch affinity you have harnessed. Eldritch beings represent the wild forces of magic and the metaphysical realms beyond the veil. And yellow is order. The quantity of order affinity you have harnessed. Beings of order cherish harmony and balance in all things. I like the turtle. I don't know why the turtle is order. I guess it makes sense. Order and primordial. And then blue is primordial. The quantity of primordial affinity you have harnessed. Primordial beings embody the powers of creation, life, death, and reality itself. So, these are all constellations, and basically as you radiate outwards, you get to more and more powerful constellations. Like, you start off with the turtle, the falcon, the imp, the rat, and then you get to, like, Ugal, the insatiable knight. When Empyrean's light first spread beyond creation, the gods discovered that a great darkness sweltered within the nothingness. It had but one name, Ugal. Ugal's insatiable hunger threatens to consume all that the primordials had painstakingly crafted. Its advance only thwarted by the merciful light of 1,000,000 stars. You know, you get the idea. Like, you go from rat to ancient primordial evil, right? Like the evil of darkness. You know, you got like a crane. Eh, you know, it's all good. Now, the two things that, and I'm sure there's a lot of ways you could look at this, the two things that, in my opinion, matter most are utility and resistances. And the means by which I say utility is, let's look up here, right? So we're going to look for health regen. So over here in the ghoul, we get one of the constellation bonuses is plus 16 health regenerated per second, and then another is 5% of attack damage converted to health. Right? And some of them require a specific weapon or other specific equipment to work. Right? And you can see here, Soleil's Witchblade. So you get plus 40% chaos damage on one of them, plus 30% chaos damage on another, and then plus 50% chaos damage. So you get from Soleil's Witchblade alone, if you complete the, you don't have to complete it to get this, but if you get these 3 constellation bonuses from Soleil's Witchblade, you get plus 120% chaos damage. Like, good grief. You know, and then there's special abilities that you get from some of them. We'll talk more about that later, but what I'm after for our character is attack damage, right? Now see over here, you can get plus 30 health regenerated per second. Right? Plus 4% of attack damage converted to health from the Dire Bear. Down here in the Toad. You know, that's also a pet bonus. But like, we're gonna get most of that from over here in the green and the red. See, the Hydra requires a ranged weapon for that plus 5% attack damage converted to health. I want to go for the Hydra. Right? Now, when it says 8 physical damage, I'm pretty sure that means it just adds a flat bonus of that damage to your, like, whoa, plus 50% to all damage. Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking I want to go for the Hydra. That's who I was going for in my dual-wielding guy that you saw on the character select screen. For now, though, we're going to cut the recording here, and I'm going to start a new one, so hold on.